The MLB trade deadline is almost here, so today I'm doing deal or no deal. I had you, the viewers, send me some trade proposal ideas, and I'm going to tell you whether I think that this would be a deal or a no deal. You get it. It's so easy to follow. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Over half of you watching this right now are not yet subscribed, so click that sub button so you don't miss out. And follow me on all my social media. Giraffe Neck Mark, links are in description. That's how you can get involved in the next one. And of course, a big shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. You'll hear more from them later. Okay, let's start off with a crazy one first. J-Ram Enjoyer says the Guardians receive Yordan Alvarez, the Astros receive Angel Henao, Jason Churio, Juan Brito, and Cooper Engel. There's an absolutely 0% chance the Astros would ever accept this trade, so this is a clear no deal from the start. Reason being, Yordan Alvarez is the best hitter in Major League Baseball right now. Pure hitter, there is nobody better. Aaron Judge is hurt, otherwise it'd be between those two. But Yordan Alvarez is clearly, at worst, the second best hitter in the league. Yordan Alvarez is also under contract through the 2028 season, and it's so cheap. While there are some good prospects here in this trade from the Guardians going to the Astros, Angel Henao, Jason Churio, Juan Brito, and Cooper Engel will never combine to nearly be as valuable as Yordan Alvarez is right now to the Astros. So yes, these are good baseball players, but there's no world where the Astros, who don't seem to actively be shopping Yordan Alvarez, would take this in a trade package. I do want to just get this one out of the way because we're not going to talk about Yordan Alvarez trades anymore. It would take a Juan Soto-like return. This is not even close. Before we get going into the next trade, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Use my code HMA when you sign up for Prize Picks to get in on a special offer. Play your first $5 lineup and win $150 in lineups if you win. Just use code HMA when you sign up, and remember to click the link in the description to download the Prize Picks app. Because Prize Picks is so easy to use, simply select more or less on a few different players, put them into your lineup, and then see how they do. Or maybe you'd rather pick teams. Prize Picks has that too now. Just pick the winner, spread, or total on any game or fight. For my picks today, I went with Shane Drohan for more than 5.5 strikeouts, more than 5.5 strikeouts for Jared Jones against the Cubs, more than 1.5 total bases for Junior Caminero. Prize Picks is also available in most states, including California, Texas, Florida. And like I said earlier, best of all, play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. You just got to make sure you use my code HMA when you sign up, and make sure you click the link in the description to download the Prize Picks app. Thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it. So here's another fun one. The Pirates receive Mason Miller. I love this world where the Pirates get him. I think he'd be amazing in Pittsburgh. The Padres receive Hunter Barco, Sammy Stafura, Yordani De Los Santos. Similarly, something that I'm noticing right now is that you guys are not giving up enough on these trades. We've seen worse players moved for similar type packages. I don't think any of the players in this trade are bad from the Pirates. Shout out my boy Sammy Stafura, but this is not nearly enough for Mason Miller, who just went for one of the top prospects in baseball. You're not going to get that back. You're not going to get Seth Hernandez, but I do think that this conversation would start with a player like Edward Florentino. Hunter Barco might be going back in that trade too, but I think that the Pirates would be asking for a ton, and I just don't think that the big piece can be a 25-year-old left-handed pitcher who's had some middling numbers and kind of projects to be more of a back-end starter rather than a frontline guy. Mason Miller is a unique player, and we truly don't know what the Padres are going to get back. I would expect if they do move him, it's going to be a ton. I just don't think that the example that you showed was enough. So that's a no deal for me. We'll talk more Mason Miller in a second. Captain L Troll Season says the Cubs receive Freddie Peralta and AJ Minter. The Mets receive Jackson Wiggins and Fernando Cruz. And I'm going to be honest, I actually think that this trade could happen. Fernando Cruz right now is one of the biggest helium prospects. Granted, he's been doing most of his damage in rookie ball right now as a 19-year-old, and he's a little bit difficult to project. But Freddie Peralta and AJ Minter for like a borderline top 100 guy with some injury concerns, like maybe the Mets would say no, because I think they are going to get a more healthy borderline top 100 guy. But for the purpose of this video, I think this is a deal. This is similar-ish to the package that you could expect probably for Freddie Peralta, fringe top 100 prospect. Maybe you throw in a lottery ticket alongside of him, depending on where that prospect is, especially if you were to add an AJ Minter. So far, of all the deals, this is my favorite in terms of what both sides would be getting in the trade. I do think the Cubs would be looking to move on from Wiggins, possibly. The Mets just signed and drafted his brother. Fernando Cruz is kind of a fun lottery pick. So yeah, I actually kind of like this one here. Deal. Although I wouldn't be shocked if this was what the Mets could get back simply for Freddie Peralta alone, even though he's been one of the worst pitchers in baseball. He's free. He's been consistent before. It's like the Mets curse. We've officially hit the Tarik Skubal portion of today's program. This one comes in from Austin Riley Enthusiast. Braves receive Tarik Skubal. Tigers receive J.R. Ritchie, Alex Lodice, Drew Hackenberg / Briggs McKenzie. And I'm going to be honest, I do think that the Tigers would probably take this trade. This is going to sound nuts, I know, but the package back for Skubal is not going to be as insane as people think. You are going to get a good package back, but because he's a free agent, because he's due a lot of money the rest of the season, and because it's going to be kind of hard to keep him, I think that the Tigers would consider taking this. Like, J.R. Ritchie was a top prospect in the Brave system, looks to be a very good young pitcher who's going to be controllable and in the rotation for many years. Alex Lodice is interesting because he's 22 years old in A-ball. Want to see what he does when he moves up a level, but so far he's been great. He's hitting for a ton of power in the minors. The stuff on Briggs McKenzie in a really small sample so far has looked electric from the left side. And while I'm admittedly not the biggest Drew Hackenberg guy, maybe he's thrown in as like kind of an extra piece to just make the deal get done. Skubal is such a unique trade piece, especially because of that expiring contract and how much money he's going to demand, and you're not going to get the qualifying offer if you trade for him, that his return back is not going to be like this generational return. We'll talk more about it. He's still going to get the best return, though, of any of the expiring contract pitchers. There's no doubt about that. And honestly, I think that this is probably one of the more realistic packages that we're seeing for Skubal, and truthfully, I'm not 100% sure if the Yankees would do it, which sounds insane. Mike the Sports Guy says Yankees get Tarik Skubal, the Tigers get George Lombard Jr. and Will Warren. And to me, Tigers will take that in a heartbeat. Tigers would take that right now. I know they have Kevin McGonigal, but being able to get George Lombard, who is going to be a really good glove at shortstop for a very, very long time, he's super young, and have big power potential like we've seen so far in the minors, I think that's a great pickup. That would be like a, top 25 prospect in baseball at worst. Will Warren is a young, controllable starting pitcher who has looked very good in samples so far as a Yankee. This, to me, like, if that got sent to the Detroit Tigers by the New York Yankees, I don't think there would be much negotiation. I don't know how many teams are going to beat it. The only other team that I think could would be the Dodgers, and that would include a combo of, like, Emmett Sheehan plus some other prospect. That's not going to be Josue DePaula. I don't think it would be Mike Sirota either, but maybe the Dodgers would because they're so crazy. Overall, though, Mike the Sports Guy, this is probably the one that I think would be the most fair from both sides. Call it a deal. The last two are both deals. Skubal's going to be interesting if he even gets moved, which I think he does, but we'll keep an eye out for. Here's one that's a little bit crazy. The Red Sox get Shea Langoliers, and the A's get Franklin Arias, Anthony Ianson, Carlos Narvaez, and Connolly Early. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Red Sox would make this trade. That's a lot to give up. Like, Franklin Arias is a mega prospect. Franklin Arias is really good. The power advancements he's made this year have been noticeable. And for a guy who's going to stick in the middle infield, it's really valuable for an organization that has, like, no shortstops right now. Anthony Ianson is one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. I know you're going to have to give up a lot to get a guy like Shea Langoliers, who's controllable and arguably one of the best catchers in baseball. But then adding on top of it Connolly Early, who's looked great, awesome stuff from the left side. I know they have so much pitching. If you lowered this package a little bit, I think the Red Sox would consider it, but also the A's aren't necessarily incentivized to move Shea Langoliers unless they get a package of this level. So yes, I think the A's would take this deal in a heartbeat. I don't think the Red Sox would do it, which is why I'm going to say no deal, but it is a good conversation to have because I do think the Red Sox are in a spot where they can get crazy aggressive this deadline and make their team even better than it's been performing recently. Okay, here's one for more bat flips, please. White Sox receive Reed Detmers, Angels receive Billy Carlson, Hagen Smith, Christian Opper, and George Wolkow. Ooh, what would we do with this one? I've been seeing a lot of the Reed Detmers proposals, and people are coming in way too cheap. Guys, Reed Detmers is going to go for a ton if he gets moved at the deadline. Everybody and their mother knows as soon as he leaves the Angels org, he is going to be even better than he already has. Like, don't look at the 4 ERA. It doesn't matter. Look at that FIP, 3.27. Angels are a huge problem, and I think you can even unlock more out of him as a pitcher. He's rocking like a 27% K rate this year, a 7.5% walk rate. That's really good in an org that doesn't develop pitching at all. And again, he's under control until the 2029 offseason, so you've got him for a while. Would the White Sox do this for those prospects? Let's think about this. They're pretty set up the middle, so yeah, Billy Carlson could be someone that they're willing to move on from, especially because they just got Rock Chalowski, so I could buy that. Christian Opper is years away and does seem to be a bit of a project with definite reliever risk. Hagen Smith hasn't looked great at AAA, but Hagen Smith's stuff's good. I see a world where him and Reed Detmers at some point aren't too different, but also there is some reliever risk still very much with Hagen Smith. And then George Wolkow has crazy, crazy power potential. He's a bit of a boomer bust player. Man, you know what? I'm going to say deal. I think the Angels, if they got this offer, you have to take it. You would have to take this. And the White Sox would only do this because right now their farm system is kind of loaded, and Reed Detmers has control, so you're not really as worried about losing out on the Hagen Smith years because you trust Detmers is going to be better. I'm going to say deal. I think that this would probably be one one of the best returns back that the Angels could realistically be offered. I don't know if the White Sox are willing to go that all in right now, though. That's my biggest concern. But if it was me, I would go deal on this. I kind of love that. Well done, more bat flips. Ooh, I kind of like the chaos of this. A guy called Rafi Devers for Framber or Rafi Devers for Corbin Burns. Oh man, why does my MLB The Show franchise brain love this idea? We got to check on the money because Rafael Devers is totally back to hitting fine. And again, get him out of San Francisco. He's going to be even better. He'll go back to being like the Red Sox version, I think. Man, he's owed like $225 million. That's so much. That's a big problem. Corbin Burns is owed about $150 million coming off of an injury. So Rafael Devers is still about $75 million more, which is that's just so much money. And then Framber right now is owed, I mean, really not that much. I don't think that the Tigers would necessarily do that for Framber. Would the Diamondbacks consider doing that for Corbin Burns? That's interesting. I don't even know. Does Corbin Burns have like a no trade clause? Because that's the most enticing possible one. And he does have a no trade clause through March of 2027, followed by a 14 no trade list. And we know they want to be in Arizona, so he probably doesn't accept this because he would have signed with the Giants, who I would assume were interested when he was a free agent. Yeah, I mean, like from a player perspective, I actually like the idea of Devers for Burns just because it fills a need for both sides. But also, I don't think anybody wants to help out the Giants, especially in division, with what is going to be an albatross of a contract very, very soon just because of Devers' positional flexibility and athleticism. So I'm going to go no deal here, but I like where we're thinking. That's a fun chaos one. Here's a kind of just like weird one that I want to talk about. G. Smaz says Dodgers receive Foster Griffin. The Nationals receive Chase Harlan and Jaron Elkins. So Foster Griffin, free agent at the end of the year. I know that I got that wrong in one of my previous videos. And pitching really, really well for the Nationals. A unique left-handed pitcher. Would the Dodgers give up those prospects to get a guy on that kind of contract who's probably pitching above his skis right now? Chase Harlan's been absolutely tearing up the minor leagues. He's slowed down a little bit at high A. Maybe you'd consider moving him just because your farm system's so loaded. Jaron Elkins has been tearing it up too. Man, that's an interesting trade. I think that the Dodgers probably would consider this one, but also I think they're going to be shooting higher than Foster Griffin, honestly. Not that Foster Griffin's bad. The Nationals should move him, even though it's sad that they're going to be sellers most likely because that's a fun young team. I think the Nationals would definitely take this trade. I think the Dodgers would be around 50-50. That is a lot to give up, but because their farm system so loaded, sure, deal. Why not? Although, probably not. Probably not. Dodgers just want to win a World Series at any cost. I don't think Foster Griffin gets into their playoff rotation. So actually, I changed it. No deal. Okay, this one comes in from Brewer Sooner. He says Josh Young to the Brewers for Brandon Sproat, Jefferson Caro, and Carlos Rodriguez. I'll be honest, I think the Rangers would do this one just because they're getting more pitching, although they kind of have some defensive pitching. I know Josh Young's been great this year. They're still going for the playoffs. What would help them get there? This would be a not believing in your team move, which kind of stinks. But Josh Young has had so many inconsistencies. He is breaking out right now at 28, having the best season of his career by far. Brandon Sproat's not been good, but he's got stuff. Jefferson Caro, do you really want a catching prospect? Carlos Rodriguez, trying to figure it out always. I don't even know if the Brewers particularly care about getting Josh Young. They have so many infielders in that organization for cheap. I think this is going to be a no deal. I actually don't think that these teams would make this trade. I do want to find a trade that the Brewers, I think, could make. I know we talked about Tarik Skubal already. They're my dark horse team to get him, and I do think that if the Brewers offered this, the Tigers would take it in a heartbeat. Brewers get Tarik Skubal. Detroit Tigers get Logan Henderson and Jet Williams. Big shout out to Green Ranger for this one. Logan Henderson rocks. Like, Logan Henderson might be too good for them to give up right now. The biggest thing that would be a concern for him is the injuries that just keep kind of happening. They're a bit nagging, and maybe you want to be a little bit afraid of that moving forward, but he's been so good when healthy. Jet Williams seems to be getting blocked in this organization, and I think has more room to move inside the Tigers right now at the top of their farm system. I think there's a world where if you just went Logan Henderson for Tarik Skubal, the Tigers would do that because he has been so good. He's a controllable young starting pitcher at the major league level. And the Brewers, they've made trades before for ace pitchers on half-a-year contract that are expiring. I'd love to see them do this trade. I would. I think that this would be sick. That's how you beat the Dodgers. They got to get Tarik Skubal. Imagine him and Mizorowski in the postseason on the same team. What? Deal. Deal. RM2 sends Mets receive Andres Jimenez. No. Blaine Bullard, Blue Jays 15th prospect for Francisco Lindor and $10 million cash. Absolutely not. 1, Francisco Lindor is not being traded. 2, Definitely not being traded again for Andres Gimenez. We've seen the player Andres Gimenez is. He's just not that good. It's simple. He is a glove-first player. He can't hit. We know he can't hit. We don't need to keep having this conversation. I think we can tell that 2022 season is a major outlier because even with it, he's still a well below league average hitter and has been for the last 3 seasons. The Mets would not do this trade. The Blue Jays would do it in a heartbeat. I want that to be very clear. Blue Jays would make this trade right now. Blue Jays fans would go pick up Francisco Lindor, drive him back to Toronto. This trade's not happening, and Francisco Lindor is not being traded. No deal. I think it's also worth noting that there's a bunch of Hunter Goodman trades that have been floated out, and I just don't see the Rockies trading him right now unless they get a huge haul from Levon. Rays received Mickey Moniak and Hunter Goodman. Rockies received Brody Hopkins, Braden Taylor, and Xavier Isaac. Brody Hopkins is pretty sick. I guess in a Hunter Goodman trade, that would kind of be fair-ish. Braden Taylor's been okay. Xavier Isaac has had some crazy stuff go on in his life, but is a big power hitter. Mickey Moniak has been really good in terms of power, more of a corner outfield DH guy. I don't think the Rays would make this trade. I think the Rockies would consider it, but also at the same time, in a lot of the Hunter Goodman trades that I'm seeing, which again, this is going to be a no deal for me. It's not the worst. But like in a lot of the Hunter Goodman trades, like this one from James Moustacaros Jr. This is really bad, man. I'm sorry. Hunter Goodman and Antonio Senzatella for Spencer Jones, Elmer Rodriguez, Ben Hess, and JC Escarra. I just don't think that trading for pitching prospects is a smart move for the Rockies at all. I like Elmer Rodriguez and Ben Hess. I don't like them when they're in Colorado pitching at Coors. And then Spencer Jones has no value right now. We've seen him play. He has no value, and neither does JC Escarra. That would never happen. That's a no deal. Another one here being Boston Red Sox receive Hunter Goodman, Colorado Rockies receive Marcelo Meyer and Anthony Ianson. I love Ianson, but should the Rockies be trading for pitching prospects? Look at what happened to Chase Dollander. Outside of Coors, he's a stud. Inside of Coors, not great. It's just impossible to pitch there, and I don't think that these packages, like even the one below it from Lucas, because again, the Red Sox are heavily linked to Hunter Goodman, but I don't think the way that you get him is by giving up pitching prospects. I do think it's by giving up like a Franklin Arias, which I wouldn't do for Hunter Goodman, because as much of a good hitter as he is, it is a scary profile the way that he plays leaving Coors. Connor Wong or Carlos Narvaez for Hunter Goodman, Kyson Witherspoon, Endy Azokar, Juan Valera, and Mikey Romero. I don't know how Kyson Witherspoon plays there. It's a scary thing if you are the Colorado Rockies trade for pitching, and that's why I don't think Hunter Goodman gets moved at the deadline. Also, there's really no incentive for them to move him right now. So those are going to be no deals for me. I don't think any deal with Hunter Goodman, he gets traded right now. I've been looking around for a Joe Ryan one. This is kind of my favorite right now. PCA Worshipper, which is a crazy name, says Cubs receive Joe Ryan, Twins receive Josiah Hartshorn, and Jackson Wiggins. I think you're still going to need to throw more in there. Like, I love Josiah Hartshorn. He's looked really, really good. He is a top prospect in the game. The Jackson Wiggins injury stuff is what scares me, which is why I think you'd need a little bit more, especially because Joe Ryan's got a lot of control. But if the Cubs threw in another like borderline top 100 prospect, I think that they could get that deal done, and I think it'd be a great deal. Joe Ryan rocks. He is one of the best pitchers in baseball, top 20 guy in my opinion. I don't think he's on the move. I don't think the Twins are trading him, but in a world where we're talking about even trades, add one more guy. I do think that this would be a deal. It'd be a pretty good package. Joe Ryan is really good. You're going to have to give up a lot. Another top prospect, and that trade is happening for sure. Man, a lot of Cubs fans in these replies. I can't just do Cubs videos. I don't think CJ Abrams gets moved, but let's just talk about his possible trade world. Tampa receives CJ Abrams. The Nats get Carson Williams, Brody Hopkins, Austin Overn, and TJ Nichols. Not enough. Not enough. I know CJ Abrams is not really a shortstop because his defense is so bad there, but the bat's ridiculously good. And again, he's probably going to be okay at second base. And if we put him in the outfield, he might even be plus. He's just so athletic. Brody Hopkins is good. Carson Williams is okay. He's not really a top 100 prospect anymore. Like, there's just not enough names in this to get that done. CJ Abrams will get a haul if he gets moved. The Nationals have no reason to move on from him yet. No deal. And then this one comes in from my friend Michael Marino. Really good. You should give him a follow. Good MLB inside stuff. Clay Holmes to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mets land Kellen Lindsey, number 15 prospect. But again, their farm system's super loaded, so like their 15th best prospect's a little bit different. I actually think that this is a deal for both sides. I think the Dodgers might be all over Clay Holmes. I wouldn't be surprised. Clay Holmes look really good. As long as he comes back and shows that he's healthy, I think teams are going to want him on that expiring contract. And then Kellen Lindsey, like in other organizations, is a clear top 10 prospect, a fringe like top 150, 200 prospect, I think, in most rankings. Kellen Lindsey's good. I don't know what his ceiling is going to be, but I do feel like floor-wise, he's going to be a Major League Baseball player. If you're the Mets, you like this return. If you're the Dodgers, you can get rid of Kellen Lindsey for no problem if you're getting a starting pitcher that's going to help you down the stretch, help you win another World Series. I love this trade. To me, this is definitely a deal. I want to do more of these. Maybe we do another one right before the trade deadline comes out. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see more, and honestly, throw your own trade predictions or trade proposals down there. I'll pull the next one from the YouTube comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content. That's where I'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.